She thought she was humiliating a waitress, but within minutes the truth left her speechless. Because sometimes, power hides behind a humble smile. The ocean shimmered beneath the golden afternoon sun, its gentle rhythm whispering against the polished glass walls of the Azure Bay Hotel. Laughter and the faint clinking of champagne flutes drifted through the air as wealthy guests reclined beneath ivory umbrellas, their sunglasses reflecting a world that seemed untouched by worry. Everything appeared perfect, or at least, perfectly staged. Naomi moved through the terrace with quiet grace, her black uniform pressed, her steps measured. The tray she carried glimmered with crystal and silver, yet her eyes, deep and steady, held something stronger than elegance. They held endurance. Each smile she offered was calm, practiced, and real in a way few people noticed. At the far end of the terrace sat Mrs. Calloway, her jewels catching every shard of sunlight, her perfume claiming the air before she even spoke. She leaned back in her chair like a queen bored of her throne, her manicured hand waving lazily as Naomi approached. Naomi bowed her head slightly, the soft sea breeze brushing against her cheek. The world around her glowed with warmth and luxury, yet beneath that glow pulsed something colder, a tension invisible to most, but one Naomi felt with every careful step she took toward Mrs. Calloway's table. Naomi placed the teacup gently before Mrs. Calloway, the steam curling softly into the air. "Your afternoon blend, ma'am," she said with a polite smile, her tone steady, her posture respectful. Mrs. Calloway lifted the cup, her painted lips tightening. "It's lukewarm," she snapped. Naomi blinked, glancing toward the still rising steam. "I'll gladly bring a fresh one." But the woman's voice cut through her words. "And this cup, is it chipped? Do you people serve anything properly here?" A few nearby guests turned their heads, murmuring behind napkins. Naomi's fingers tightened around her tray, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm so sorry, ma'am." "I'll replace." Mrs. Calloway leaned back, her diamonds glinting in the sun. Her smile was sharp, cruel. "Maybe you people just don't understand luxury." The words fell heavy as stone. The terrace went silent, a hush that stung worse than the insult itself. Naomi's cheeks burned, yet her eyes didn't waver. She simply nodded, turned, and began to walk away. Then Ike the sudden shove. Hot tea splashed across white linen, the cup crashing to the ground in a cruel symphony of glass and shame. Gasps filled the air. Mrs. Calloway's laughter lingered, brittle and hollow, as Naomi stood frozen, her dignity trembling, but unbroken. The air felt heavier now, thick with whispers and embarrassment. Naomi knelt quietly, gathering the shattered pieces of porcelain with steady hands. Each fragment gleamed like a small reflection of the moment, sharp, fragile, unforgettable. She set them gently on her tray, straightened her back, and met Mrs. Calloway's smug eyes. "It's okay, ma'am," Naomi said softly, her tone calm yet edged with quiet certainty. "Everyone reveals who they are sooner or later." A flicker of confusion crossed Mrs. Calloway's face, but before she could respond, the hotel manager hurried over, red-faced and trembling. "Mrs. Calloway, I'm so terribly sorry," he stammered, bowing slightly. "We'll ensure she's disciplined immediately." Not a glance was given to Naomi, not a word of apology. Naomi only nodded, setting the tray aside. Her expression betrayed nothing, no anger, no pain, just a stillness that felt almost deliberate. She untied her apron slowly, folding it with care before laying it on a nearby counter. Then, to everyone's surprise, she turned, not toward the narrow hallway leading to the staff quarters, but toward the gleaming elevator at the far end of the corridor. A few waiters paused mid-step, watching her in silence. Their eyes followed her as the elevator doors closed, carrying her upward, into the part of the hotel no one like her was ever meant to walk into. The lobby buzzed with uneasy whispers. The hotel manager stood near the front desk, his phone pressed tightly to his ear, beads of sweat forming at his temple. His voice trembled as he repeated the words he'd just heard. "The new owner arrived early?" Around him, the staff exchanged anxious glances. Even Mrs. Calloway, still seated on the terrace with a fresh cup of tea, raised an eyebrow, sensing something shift in the air. Then, a soft chime. The elevator doors slid open with quiet grace. Out stepped Naomi. Gone was the black uniform and apron. In its place, a pristine white blazer, tailored perfectly to her frame, paired with elegant heels that clicked sharply against the marble floor. The afternoon sunlight poured through the glass walls, framing her in gold. Every conversation halted. The same woman who had been humiliated moments ago now moved with quiet command. Her chin lifted, her presence magnetic. The manager blinked, his voice cracking. "Miss Reed?" Naomi offered a calm smile and extended her hand. "Naomi Reed," she said evenly. "Majority shareholder of this establishment. And I believe we need to discuss our customer service training." Gasps rippled through the room. Mrs. Calloway's hand trembled around her cup, her face draining of color as realization struck. The woman she had mocked now owned everything around her. Mrs. Calloway's lips parted, but her voice faltered. The once commanding tone that had filled the terrace with arrogance now quivered like glass under pressure. "Ms. Reed, I didn't know," she stammered, clutching her designer bag as if it could shield her. "It was a misunderstanding. I didn't mean—" Naomi regarded her silently, the faintest trace of a smile touching her lips. There was no anger in her eyes, only the calm of someone who had already won a battle she never asked for. "Don't worry," she said softly, her voice steady as still water. "I forgive you, but you won't be staying here any longer." The words hung in the air, soft yet final. 2 security officers approached, polite but firm. Mrs. Calloway tried to protest, but the only sound that followed was the sharp echo of her heels against the marble floor, a rhythm of defeat. Guests watched in stunned silence, the spectacle of arrogance unraveling before them. Naomi turned toward the staff, her expression gentle now. "From now on," she said, her voice carrying through the quiet room, "no one gets treated like that here." For a heartbeat, silence. Then a single clap, then another, until the room filled with applause, not loud or wild, but sincere. It was the sound of dignity restored. The sun dipped low on the horizon, washing the ocean in shades of amber and rose. From her office window, Naomi watched the waves roll and shimmer, their rhythm slow and certain, like time itself exhaling. The chaos of the afternoon had faded, replaced by the hum of evening calm. Below, the hotel lights flickered on one by one, like stars returning to earth. She stood quietly, arms folded, her reflection blending with the sea beyond the glass. The very place that once confined her had become hers to command, not through revenge, but through grace. Her thoughts drifted back to Mrs. Calloway's trembling apology, to the silence that had filled the terrace when truth revealed itself. Power, she realized, wasn't in raising one's voice or proving others wrong. It lived in restraint, in choosing dignity when the world offered humiliation. A faint smile curved her lips as she whispered to herself, "Kindness isn't weakness. It's strength restrained by grace." The last rays of sunlight brushed across her face, soft and golden, framing her like a quiet promise. She turned from the window, calm and resolute. A woman who had risen above cruelty, not to dominate, but to redefine what true power looks like. True power doesn't shout, it acts. The ones who stay humble often hold the kind of strength that money can't buy. Because respect can't be demanded, it's earned.